We are.
The Girls Who Gab.
I'm Kassie.
And I'm Bayley.
And today we are going to be discussing some hopefully funny, maybe a little bit inappropriate childhood stories. So this is going to be basically anything that happened before high school, because we are actually going to be doing a whole high school episode as well.
Yes. Ooh, I'm excited. Bringing back some memories. So what are you drinking today?
I'm actually double fisting. I have two drinks here. 2 drinks. This is almost gone, so I needed a second drink. But in my Starbucks cup, I have finishing off my protein shake. So it's like just vanilla protein powder inside of a Crystal Light, like water. And then I'm also drinking a Yogi blueberry detox tea or something. It has green tea in it, but it tastes like blueberries, and it's my favorite thing ever.
Oh.
What are you drinking?
Fisting. And I'm drinking water. In
Love
my
that.
also Starbucks cup. That wasn't planned. I held up my cup and then you held up yours. It's super cute. But yeah, I'm just drinking water because I finished. I did an intense workout this morning, and so I had my shake. I had my greens drink. And since you're not drinking and I'm not drinking, I was like, well, water it is.
Yes, for those of you listening, I am currently on day 7, 6. I don't know. I'm on almost a week of a 30-day challenge that I made up for myself, and part of it is being sober for 30 days, so no drinking. I'm also doing a bunch of other things, and if you're interested, you should check out my link tree that's in the description of wherever you're listening or watching, because I have a private Facebook group that you guys can join if you want to join with me.
For full support. I love that. Yep. I'm on that page too. Yeah, I'm just not drinking just for the heck of it.
Well, and you're about to start.
True. And I'm about to start my 30 days with Arbonne as well. So I'm going to be cutting out drink wise, coffee and alcohol. So just kind of prepping myself.
Yeah. I guess. Getting into the groove of it.
Yeah.
Earlier, just I think it was yesterday. So Matt is trying to do these 30 days with me, except that he started a day after I did for the alcohol part of it. And so then yesterday he was like, I don't know if I can handle 30 days without drinking. It's so boring.
He's done it, no?
I know, he's done it with me. And I was like, come on. He's like, yeah, but it's boring. There's nothing to do.
I guess right now it's kind of like an escape for to fill in the time a little bit. So I can see what he means.
Yeah, to make things a little bit more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I can see
break
that.
Down the monopoly of nothingness.
Of sitting here.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let's do our cheers to that and pour one out. You can go first, whichever one you want to start with.
My pour one out is work. And I'm just going to say that. That's it. Pour one out is work.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you want me to go into it, I can. But I mean, I've talked about it enough. Yeah. I'm just frustrated with some of the stuff that's happening in my work. And it's not anything specifically with my direct coworkers or supervisors or anything really. It's just some of the decisions that they're making about some administrative stuff, I guess. I just don't agree with and stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
I feel you. Okay. My pour one out is started my period on Monday, and it was very intense, and I was very upset about it. So intense, meaning not the cramps. My cramps are always bad. They've been bad since I can remember I even had a period. So that's not the part that I'm upset about. What I'm upset about is that it made me hella emotional, and I'm not about that at all. I'm already an emotional person, but this was on a whole different level. I wasn't myself, and it was just weird. And Andre stayed away from me for quite some time, and that was a decision on his part because it wasn't pretty. But I think what escalated it too is that this is kind of my cheers to that too. My cheers to that is that I finally saw my family for the first time, and so I was stoked about that. Yeah, that was really exciting. But then on Monday, I felt this type of guilt and well, now that was like a tease because I'm not going to go over there every weekend. Like I'm still going to go like this X amount of time now that this stay-at-home order is even longer. And hey, yeah. And so I got really upset at just the situation. And now that I gave myself a tease. And so that was a mix of my cheers to that and pour one out.
Mm-hmm. I feel that because that's what happened to me too the day after I went over to my dad's house.
Yeah.
And then I was just like so upset the next day. And I think it's because a mix of like feeling guilty that I did it, but then also like being so sad that we're back. Like it was like a break from what real life is right now. And then realizing that we're still in this and like, it's not gone yet.
Yeah, exactly. And I was extra emotional about it too, because I was getting a lot of like hate for going out and messages about like, because I've been very adamant with the stay-home order. I have not left. I haven't done anything, been very good. And I was telling Andre, like, I can bet you $10 that I'm going to get car sick on the way there. And lo and behold, I got car sick on the way there because I already get car sick. Like literally like holding like my throw up in my mouth. It was just like, I couldn't like.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's been 60 days since I've been in a moving vehicle. Driving on the freeway, I was like, you are going like 200 miles per hour right now. He's like, I'm only going like 80. I'm like,
80 is fast.
I can't. Well, yeah, that's like normal. But
yeah, I know. Yeah, you drive crazy too.
I do drive crazy.
I have noticed that since the stay-at-home order stuff, because I'm going to work every day, obviously, like we've talked about, but like there's not a lot of people on the road because no one's going to work or anything. So the freeways are all, empty, and I've been speeding so much more than usual. I keep having to put my cruise control on because cops are out everywhere and I don't want to get a ticket.
Yeah, no, for sure. I can see that. That makes sense. When we were out, and that was my first time seeing, like, I feel like in the beginning it was a little bit worse. People weren't going out. I kind of came out in the end of things. But yeah, I can definitely understand. That would be easy for me to speed. Definitely. But so yeah, I was just upset and I was getting hate about it. Oh, you're so adamant about staying home and now you're not, and blah, blah, blah. And like what people don't understand is I still didn't hug my parents, and that we are like avid touchy-feely people, like next to each other 24/7 when I'm over there. And my brother lays on me randomly. Like we're just so lovey-dovey. And it was so weird to not do that. And people didn't see that. They just saw that I was somewhere different and decided to hate on me for that. And so that was upsetting.
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
So, yeah.
I think that part of the reason that I haven't gotten anything like that is because I am still going to work. So it's like,
that's true.
People have been seeing me doing all sorts of things the whole time.
Yeah. And
so it wasn't like that weird for me to post a picture of me in my dad's pool. Yeah. I also didn't post anything like with family.
With people.
We didn't take any pictures other than me and Matt. Yeah. So weird. I hate social media right now because of that too. That's a good pour one out.
It's just stupid. Y'all need to relax.
So. My cheers to that though is something that I did today that I don't really want to go into, but Bailey knows what it is.
I do. Guys,
I did a thing.
Exciting. I can see why you don't want to talk about it though, because you want to like not get your hopes up. You don't want to get excited. So don't put anything out there in the universe yet. Let's just say that it's a cheers to that for sure, and that's that.
Yeah. So I did a thing, and it went really well, and I'm gonna need more good vibes in a couple weeks. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, you might have seen that I asked for like good vibes, and so I will be asking for good vibes again in the near future. Soon. So yeah, that's my cheers to that. It's really weird and quiet to like not say what it is, but anyway.
Yeah, no, super exciting.
No, I'm not pregnant. That's not what it is.
You kidding me?
You guys are thinking that. No.
I'm bound to get pregnant again before you get pregnant for the first time.
Yeah, probably. Honestly.
Love it. Okay. Well, let's get into childhood stories.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll start, I guess. So one thing that I always think about my childhood is One thing that I always think about my childhood is I lived next door to my best friend. She's still my best friend to this day. But for the longest time, we had no idea that we lived next to each other. I don't have an answer because I was an outdoor child and so is she. She rode her horses in her backyard. Like, it just doesn't make sense how we didn't know each other. But we went to the same elementary school and we were best friends at school. And so we would always chase each other around, chase all the boys around together. We were so close. And then we would just end our day by going home and never knew we were next to each other. And then one day her dad and my dad were outside and they were talking. And then she came out of the car and I came out of the house and we were like, what? And then we realized that we lived next to each other. And so that's like one of my biggest things of like living in that certain house that I consider like the house that I grew up in. That's my favorite memory. And after that, the rest is history. Like, we had the greatest times. Probably most of my stories are going to revolve around her because
that's cute.
Love her. Yeah.
I love that.
I know. I love it.
That is so funny.
Ridiculous. I don't know how we didn't know.
I want to start with like, not really a story, but more of a general like truth about me.
Okay, go.
So 2 parts. One is that, even as a young child, like pre-K, I was always obsessed with boys. And one of the things, I moved schools every single year up until 3rd grade. And then I was in the same school for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then I was in the same school for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Mm-hmm. But every time that I got a new classroom, and then eventually in middle school, like each class, the first thing I did was like look around the room and go, who's the cutest boy to have an obsession with this year? Like, even in kindergarten, why am I like this?
Why are you like that?
So that was a thing. And I had a little like crush on a boy every single year. In 3rd through 5th grade, it was the same boy for those 3 years because I also had the same classmates because I was like in GATE. So I had the same classmates every year. Mm-hmm. And so like there was this like weird, like, that's just like such a baseline of my childhood.
That is hilarious.
And then the other thing that I wanted to mention of like a baseline of middle school is that I like I couldn't decide on like what identity I wanted to have, like what
who you wanted to be.
Yeah, so I was on the cheer team and with all the cheerleaders and super preppy and whatever, while at the same time also wearing all black. And I dyed my hair in pieces of like thick, like 1-inch blocks of blonde along my dark brown hair. And I would wear like all of the kohl eyeliner all around my eyes. So I looked like a raccoon. Oh, and just a short story to go with that is I used to go over to my friend's house after school to wait for my mom when she, like, for her to get off of work. And my friend's grandma was like straight from Ireland and had a thick Irish accent. And I'm not going to do an Irish accent because I can't. But she basically, the first time she ever saw me, she said, "You have so much eyeliner on, you could plant a potato in it."
What?
Which is like the most Irish thing you could hear because they're like known for their potato.
That's what, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like, they had like the potato famine back in the day and all that.
That's a weird comment.
So much eyeliner that you could plant a potato in.
Oh gosh, that's interesting.
So, that's what I want.
Not that you wear thick eyeliner anymore or like that thick, because I've seen pictures, but I'm gonna think about that all the time now.
Yeah, but I do still like, I mean, eyeliner is my favorite
makeup.
Yeah, my favorite item of makeup, and so like I still to this day wear my winged eyeliner, but I don't kohl anymore, like on the underline or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy. I never adventured with makeup until I was forced to when I was in cheer in high school. So.
Oh, nice.
I ain't got a clue what you're talking about.
And you still don't really wear like full face of makeup all the time.
I don't. It's very, very seldom that I do. Yeah, it's more often that I wear just like concealer under my eye because bags are a real thing in mom life. I just say mom life to cover it up. Bags are a thing in my life. And mascara, and that's it. And lipstick. I love my lipstick. Okay, something from my childhood is, once again, with Shannon, but in my backyard, we had half an acre, so it was quite a large property in our backyard. There was a huge barn that we never touched because the owners before us. Big dirted land. Well, we had, growing up, well, no, still to this day, my family is very like outdoorsy, like I said. So we have a bunch of like motorcycles, we have a bunch of four-wheelers, we'd go camping all the time. And so because of our large yard, everything would always be in the back or a side yard. Well, I remember my dad like brought a bunch of sand and dirt over and built little hills in the backyard so that we can ride our ATVs in the backyard instead of like having to wait till we go camping to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember us doing that. And then I remember one summer, the weeds just got out of hand and my parents never cleaned them. I don't have an answer for you, but I'm thankful because it created this memory. They grew up, I swear, I kid you not, like 6 feet tall.
The
like
weeds.
It was the weeds. Yeah. Like I'm not even being dramatic. It was like 6 feet tall. And I remember Shannon, my brother and I, my brother was probably like 4 years old. But when he started like doing stuff with us, I remember we would like, and the hills were still there. So it was really cool. But we would like walk in and make pathways. And like we built a house within the weeds. Like we created hallways. We created like little big rooms. And there was one that I vividly remember that we created a bathroom. We actually used it as a bathroom. We brought toilet paper out there and everything, and we used it. I mean, heck, like I said, and started with this story, is that my family is very outdoorsy. We go camping. So I know what it's like to pee and to poop into the ground or a bucket. So anyways, so yeah, that was just really fun and exciting. And that was there for like a solid couple months. And it was like one of the greatest things ever. And I don't even get disgusted. I'm like, I'm so proud of us. We're great. A bunch of girls kicking butt.
Yeah, you know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. We're crazy.
That is so funny. So my favorite, do I want to start with my favorite story or end with my favorite story?
I don't know. It's like eating a plate of your last meal. What do you want to do?
I know. Okay, I'll start with not my favorite one, but it's still a good one. Okay, so when I was younger, my sister is 4.5 years younger than me, and I'm a child of divorced parents, but she's like my half sibling, so she always lived with my dad, but I only went to my dad's on weekends. And so because of that, my dad and stepmom bought a trundle bed, which is like the bed that rolls out underneath a regular bed. Mm-hmm. And so that was my bed under Lauren's bed, right? And for some reason, the two of us both always really, really wanted the trundle bed. Like, I don't know why we thought that was the better bed.
Weird.
But apparently we always wanted the trundle bed.
Okay.
So one time I would have been like 10 or 11. So she would have been like 5 or 6.
Okay.
One time she like was trying to argue with me saying she wanted the trundle bed and I wanted it so bad. So I was like, no, Lauren, I need the trundle bed because there are monsters under the bed and I'm going to keep you safe. And so she listened to me and she laid down, but like she didn't 100% believe me. She was still kind of like saying like, I don't know. And I think that I should still get it. I think you're just lying. So as we were falling asleep, I was growling.
You are so evil. Oh my gosh.
To convince her that there really were monsters under the bed. And it worked because she didn't ask to sleep on the trundle bed for like weeks after that.
OMG. You're so evil. You're great. Like, I gotta do what I gotta do.
I'm an awesome big sister. What am I talking about?
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. So one of little like, this is the smallest story, but a fun story is my dad has always owned, since I can remember, sandrails, so like buggies for like out and riding in the desert. And he's always built his own. So there's always been parts around all of the houses that we've lived, big tires. And one of the funnest memories that I have in our the house that I grew up in, my brother, same, was like a younger age. And we would fit inside these huge monstrous tires, and my dad would just like roll us down. Cause like,
cool.
Yeah, it was so fun because that house was so like, it was kind of long. And so from the entryway, you can roll it all the way down basically to like almost the back of the house. Like it was completely a clear shot. So he would just roll us and roll us and roll us. And then one of us, me or Clay, whoever was outside of the tire, would just have to follow to make sure to like fall over and, you know, kill us. But anyways, so that was always a fun time.
Yeah, that's
often. Yeah.
My dad used to wrestle like with us. So like he would like, so my dad is like always has been very focused on like making sure we know how to keep ourselves safe. So this is like more like once we got a little bit older and like his goal was always like, oh, like how to defend yourself kind of things, like basically self-defense classes. But then he was also like messing around with us too at the same time. So like he would always start, and he's like a big dude. He's 6 foot and he's like, I don't know, he's like a big man. And we're small, like, and we were younger too, so we're small. And so he would like grab us in like behind from us, or like he would grab our arms or whatever and be like, okay, how would you get out? What do you do next? And he would just make us, and he wouldn't like teach us. It wasn't eventually he would show us, but like part of it was just the fun of like, haha, I caught you. How can you get out of here? Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that's fun. I like that though. That's good for like life lessons, man. But
yeah, and he always takes it way too far, because then we're just like, okay, like I'm stuck.
I get it. Yeah.
Like just get off of me. Like, why are we still here?
This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, I have another story related to my dad that I didn't think about. And technically this is a high school story because it was when I was 16, but it's not related to high school. It's related to getting my driver's license. So when I got my driver's license, the first thing my dad did was steal it from me and make me chase him around the neighborhood. And he was yelling out my driver's license number, and I couldn't have it back, and he wouldn't stop making me chase him until I could memorize my driver's license number and like just spit it back out at him.
What?
So like for a solid like 30 minutes, he ran around our neighborhood and wouldn't let me have it back. And I don't know why I was willing to run away, like run with him. But
why did you have to memorize it?
Well, that's like a good thing to have memorized. You should have your driver's license memorized.
Well, now the world knows that I don't, because I'm confused.
It's a really good thing to have, because like if you ever are driving and you don't have your driver's license on you, you can just state it and they can find all of your information using just your driver's license number. So
if I were to get pulled over, and I always have it on me, but if I didn't, I could say that and they would take that, like that would be okay.
Yeah, so that it would take more time. Like they definitely would prefer for you to pull out your driver's license, because then they can like check everything on, all of the information that they need is on your license.
Right.
But if you give them your license number, then they can look up all of that same information and make sure that you're you and whatever they're looking at for that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So it's a good thing to have memorized. Same with your social security card number.
Well, that I have memorized. Yeah, I had to memorize that in 8th grade, I think.
I memorized it when I turned 16 because I had to write it down a lot of times for my driver's license.
Oh, yeah. I had to go through like so much because my dad is technically my stepdad, but he adopted me. And so like I went through like a name change, and like I just have always had to deal a lot with my social. So
yeah.
Yep, I know that, sucker. Okay. So this one's like, it's a funny story to me, but my dad's not a fan of it. So my dad loved remote control cars and like big monster truck remote controls. And so on the remote controls, there's this long antenna, right? Well, he didn't want me playing with the remote control itself. He was just like letting me play with the car. And then that got me upset. I was jealous. And so one day, I don't think he was home. I can't remember if he was home or not, but I took the remote control and I like tried playing with it and it didn't work, of course. And then I think my mom had told me like, no, don't play with that. And I got upset. So I took the antenna of the remote control and I banged it into one of our pool. We had this game room and there was a pool table, and one of his favorite chairs was sitting right there. So I put 2 and 2 together like an evil child that I was, and I smashed the antenna into his favorite chair, and I ruined the antenna and I ruined the chair, and I got grounded till the next summer, and it was horrible. horrible.
How old would you have been when this happened?
I think I was in like, I was old. I was like an evil child old. Like I wasn't just doing it because I didn't know what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. I think I was in like 5th grade.
Okay, so like 11, 10.
Yeah, I want to say that fits it. But anyways, it's hilarious. Every time I think of that story, I'm like, oh, it's funny now, but it sucked then. But it is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so when I was like, it was before I could write. So like, I couldn't write like actual letters yet. Maybe I was like practicing letters, but like I definitely couldn't write sentences or words yet.
Yeah.
That movie Harriet the Spy, which is a great movie, it's a Nickelodeon original, and she like has a journal and she writes all of her secrets and spy stuff in her journal. And I really wanted to have a journal, but I was like, what, 4 or 5 if I couldn't write yet. So I decided to take a red Sharpie and go sit or lay down under the coffee table, and I scribbled on the entire coffee table for like, this was multiple times. I didn't do this like just once. I did this like over time and wrote on it this on the bottom of the coffee table all these scribbles, so it looked like a long paragraph, like scribble space.
I got you.
And my parents it was my grandma's table.
Where were people when you were writing on this?
I don't know.
Oh,
not there. But there was like growing up, this would have been I think when I was living with like my mom and my grandma, like in my grandma's house.
Okay.
So there were always like people in the house, but not necessarily in the same room with me. Like they would put on a movie and then I would like be in there and they would like walk through every once in a while. Mm-hmm. So I think that's, if I like put the timing together, I think that's all true. And anyway, so I did this, and then years later when we were moving out or they were moving houses or something, they, picked up the coffee table and put it, and they found all of the writing, and they were like, what is this? And I was like, oh, that's my Harriet the Spy journal.
I love that so much. Were they like upset?
Yeah, but no, because like it was so long like since, because they knew like by the time they found it, like I definitely could write. So they were like, why is it scribbles? And I was like, I couldn't write when I was doing this. And like my grandma still tells this story all the time, and she always says that she wishes she had kept the wood part of the coffee table, because the coffee table broke at some point. They had to get rid of it. But she like always talks about how like she should have just taken the legs off and gotten it framed or something.
That would have been really cool. That's a good that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So that's something that I did as a kid.
That is hilarious. I love that.
Ridiculous.
I'm thinking, oh my God, what if Amelia did something like that? Like, would I be mad? Like, or would I be like, well, it's under the table. At least he didn't do it on the wall. Like, I'm trying to like.
Yeah. My mom was more mad than my grandma was, but it was my grandma's table. So like.
So that's why.
So that was part of it. And it had been like years since I had actually done it. So like, what are you going to do? Ground me now? Like.
Ha ha ha. No.
Yeah. And my mom's rule was always like, if it happened more than 2 years ago, then you can tell me. Like if you did something bad. And you won't get in trouble. That was like always a thing.
That's an interesting rule.
But
maybe that's what secretly implemented the rule.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Growing up, we always had like reptiles in our house. So we loved bearded dragons. I love snakes. So
why don't you guys have a pet snake?
When?
No, why don't you have one now? You're always talking about wanting a pet.
Well, you see, when I first moved back to California in 2014, I did have a snake. And then I left my parents' house, and I left the snake there, and I let him die, and I forever it's a bad story. Like, I was a horrible parent to that snake. And anyways, it stank up my room, and my parents got very mad at me, and it was just dead. And
wow,
it was horrible. So that's why I don't have any snakes anymore, because I can't trust myself.
But you wouldn't just abandon it now.
No. You're right. I wouldn't. So totally, I would be in a different mindset now. But growing up, we had a bunch of snakes and, like I said, reptiles. And I remember this one time, I think it was me. Still to this day, I actually don't know if it was me or my brother who left the lock open to the cage. And so one of our snakes got loose. And so for like a solid month, we still did not find the snake. And my mom was freaking out. I mean, could have been anywhere in the house. We didn't know like if it had gotten out or whatnot. And yeah, it was just very terrifying to live in the house for a solid month. And then we officially, I think we found him finally. My mom found him one day and like locked him in our, my brother and I's playroom and like shut all the doors so he couldn't get out and closed the doggy door so he couldn't escape through there and everything. And then my dad came home and got him.
Oh.
And we let him loose and yeah.
I have a story relating to getting an animal
Okay, go.
loose in your house. So I used to have hamsters, and this one hamster that I had, it was a girl, and she was actually, I think she's my prettiest hamster. She was like white with like pinky tan, not spots, but like a section of her back. She was really pretty, but she was an asshole. She always bit me.
Oh.
And she was really good at getting out of her cage because she was strong enough to push open the metal. You know what kind of cage I'm talking about, where it's like metal?
Yes.
Yeah, rods or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you like kind of squeeze the little part to open up the door, right? And she could do it. She could do it on her own. So one time she did that and she got out, and the cage was up like on a dresser. So like 3-4 feet off the ground. So she had gotten down, assuming she fell, and we didn't know where she was. She had done this like during our like school and work time, so nobody had been home. So we can't find her, and we like tried putting food out and stuff, and we like at some point assumed that she was, you know, either not in the house anymore or dead somewhere, and like we would find her eventually with the smell.
Oh, yeah.
Like we kind of gave up looking for her, and then one day my mom like moved. We had this huge china cabinet with a bunch of like snow globes and other like glass stuff in it, and it was a really pretty china cabinet. But anyway, she had like moved it over or something. She was like reorganizing, and she found this like spot on the carpet that had been chewed all up, and there was a bunch of food, like hamster food, sitting in the carpet. And so she moved the cabinet further out, and the freaking hamster was back there just like hanging out, and she broke her leg from the fall, we think.
Aww.
And so we ended up like, we didn't have her put down. We put her down. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what my stepdad did to her, but she died.
Oh.
She's dead.
My heart.
Yeah, and then we buried her in the backyard of our old house, and that's a thing.
That's nuts. That's sad.
Yeah, but also like,
I mean,
are annoying. Don't
she
get
got
one.
out.
Like, if you're gonna get a rodent, rats and what are those called? Not gerbils, but the other guinea pigs. Rats and guinea pigs are way more fun of a rodent to have. They're cute and they like actually do things other than hamsters. Hamsters just bite you.
Well, in your experience, they do.
I've had so many hamsters. Hamsters are biters. Like,
oh,
they are mean.
Don't do it. Yeah, no, I won't even ever do that. So that's fine. My dad always growing up until we moved here in 2014, he always had fish and like this huge fish tank. And so it was filled with, I don't know what type of fish exactly, but that was always fun to have like as a little kid. I wish my daughter would be into fish, but she's not.
Has she seen fish? Like
have I never told you the story?
No, I mean, you guys go to the aquarium. But
okay, yes, we do as a family. Well, as human beings, Andre and I just absolutely love the aquarium. We've been going there forever. But so we've been taking her ever since she was little. Loves it, loves looking at fish. But we went to PetSmart one time, and Andre and I were like, okay, we're going to get her a fish. It's going to be so much fun. No. I was more excited than the child. Like, I was like, Amelia, you want this one? This one you want? I'm like holding it and like getting so, like making the most excited face ever. And she was like, for a second, she'd be like, no. And I was like so mad. And finally, after like the third attempt, I gave her the fish and I was like, okay, this is the one. It was just a betta fish.
Yeah.
Trying to make it simple. And I was like, okay, this is the one you're going to get, right? And she was like, yeah. And so she grabbed it and she was excited for a little bit longer. I was like, okay, this is it. We picked up the food, picked out the tank, the little plants that they have. Everything was set. We were walking down the middle of the store to go to the front. And I look back. The fish is on the floor way back where we came from. And she's just like walking away. I'm like, we're not getting this stupid fish. She's not excited. I can't do this. No.
How old was she?
This was like less than a year ago.
Maybe she'd be more excited.
This was less than 6 months ago, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun time. I was really sad. I left that place so mad. I was like, I wanted the fish.
You should have just gotten the
for
fish.
myself. No, because I was like, I don't need it. It's fine.
I have one more story before we finish because it's my favorite story of all time.
Oh my God, I'm ready.
I was telling you a little bit about it before, but the full story is in like before kindergarten, but it wasn't like pre-K. It was like just the babysitter's house that we would go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, 4 when this happened? This was during the time frame when Titanic came out. My mom is obsessed with Titanic. Yeah, like I like it and I've definitely seen it way too many times, but my mom saw it 8 times in the movie theater itself.
I love that. Also, that's a lot of time spent in a movie theater, but yes.
Yeah, that is a lot of times. But so just to give you perspective, so then it came out and we would watch it all the time, and she didn't like care. She was never really like strict about like what I watched specifically, like that movie. I mean, yeah, there's that one.
There's not. Well,
this is the one scene. The one scene that matters is the scene that matters. So there's the Nike scene when he draws her.
The Nike.
The Nike scene. Okay, so when I was in preschool, so to speak, I also really liked Titanic because we watched it all the time. And I had this one boy in my babysitting time. Remember when I said I was always obsessed with a boy?
Yes.
So I was obsessed with this boy. And we were playing one time in like the yard area of our babysitter's house. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should play Titanic. And he was like, what does that mean? And I was like, you are going to draw me. And so he had like a stick and he was drawing in the dirt. That was what he was doing. And I got naked because that's what happens in the movie.
Stop.
I was straight up naked. And so just like posing, like I wasn't even, I don't think even posing the same way. I was just like standing there like butt naked with my like hands on my hips. And he was just like drawing in the dirt. And like, I don't really remember like my own perspective of this because it was when I was like 4, like I said. But from my understanding, like it wasn't really a sexual thing. It was me wanting to be like the movie.
It was one of the parts that you remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. And so of course our babysitter catches us and she sees that he's fully clothed and I'm completely naked. And she doesn't really ask any questions. And so she just gets him in trouble. He goes in timeout. I get dressed, whatever. So then she tells my mom, and this is more my mom's version of the story of events than mine, because again, like one, this memory is not very strong for me. Mm-hmm. But my mom always points out the story of, so the babysitter tells her what happens and is like, I'm so sorry, like the little boy got in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And my mom is like, okay, thank you for letting me know. And then in the car, she asks me like what happened. And I tell her like, well, I wanted to play Titanic. And so I told him to get a stick and draw me and I got naked. Like very matter of fact of what happened. And she was like, okay, so it was your idea. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, and he didn't make you take your clothes off. And I was like, no. And so she went to the babysitter the next day and was like, I just want you to know that like, he's not the one who should be in trouble. He was just playing and didn't think anything of it. And it was all her idea.
Oh my gosh.
So
I've never heard that story. That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's my favorite story ever.
And this is why I don't let Amelia watch certain things.
But it was like totally innocent. That's what I love about like little kids don't know
what they're doing.
Yeah, what it is.
There's no harm to it.
Yeah. So funny. I love that story.
I guess I can make this a story. So this is when I went to this daycare. It was like an after school program. And for like a full-on daycare, you could go there. Well, for like kindergarten and preschool, I think. But I just went there for the after-school program because I was already in elementary school at that point. And I think this was when I was in 7th grade, so I was in intermediate school or intermediate junior high or whatever. And there was a group of us all the same age that loved to hang out. And this one girl and I, same thing, were like loved to model. And one time I brought like my Polaroid camera, my little, not Polaroid, but the one that.
The little tiny one.
Yes, yeah. So I brought that, and where you couldn't see the image at all or whatever right then and there, I had to go get it like, just
processed and stuff. Yeah.
So we were taking pictures, and like I remember one day we were like planning it out. Okay, we're gonna take pictures. You bring like whatever you want to wear, and then we do all this. So I brought like a scarf, and it was such a fun time. And like I brought my fancy belts. She brought a hat. We wore like our favorite T-shirts. My favorite T-shirt was like this shirt that I got from Glamis, and it said Glamis on it. It was shiny and sparkly. I don't know why it was my favorite shirt, but it was. And we modeled on the playground. Like there's pictures of us like hand on head from the back. And like we wore the things that we brought in random places. Like she wore the scarf wrapped around her head. I wore the scarf as a belt through my belt.
That was a thing.
Yes, it was. Also shoelaces as belt were a thing. I 100% did that during high school. Yeah. Anyways, so saying that story, I mean, I wasn't butt naked, but I had a little modeling session. That was so much fun. I still have those photos actually, and I sent it to Crystal. We're not friends anymore, but we're like on social media with each other. And so like I'll come upon them often because I look through my photo albums often, and I'll send it to her, and I'm just like, oh, the days. Oh, the good old days. Yeah, we created another memory with her. We made this song one time. Like she just dropped a beat, and we just like, I would really have to think about it to remember the song, but it was like in my head forever. And it was about us being best friends, and it was such a good time.
So cute.
I loved my town and country days. They were so much fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
LOL. Okay, well, I know you're done with stories, but I have one more.
Okay, go.
So this one's small too, but one of my favorite things when I was little, I was I'm still obsessed with Little Mermaid and Ariel. So I remember there was one weekend that my parents had asked my my aunt and uncle to watch my brother and I while they did something, and I had no idea what it was. Well, they were redecorating my room to be completely Little Mermaid out, like decked out, everything. So I spent the weekend at my aunt and uncle's, and I came home, and it was like the best thing to this day. I remember exactly what that room looked like. I remember all the decorations. Like they bought little decorations. Like I had a snow globe of Ariel sitting on the rock with Flounder and Sebastian. It was like the cutest thing. It is huge, huge Ariel blanket, which I still have to this day, and I use it often. And it was like one of my greatest memories just because it was like something so special that they did for me. And it was like my favorite bedroom to this day. It was amazing. I wish I still had that snow globe. I don't know where it is. I lost it like recently being in like the past 5 years.
That's crazy.
Depressing.
Yeah, that's cute. I like that. Talking about Disney, 2 things. Well, one is Disney related, one is not. Disney related is that a lot of people ask why I have Lion King on my arm, and it's just because I watched Lion King so many times that I broke 2 VHSs of it.
Love it.
And fun fact, the other day I was working with, I work with teenagers, and this one particular teenager is like a younger teenager. I think she was like 12 or 13, and she asked me what a VHS was, and I had to explain to her what a VHS was.
That's insane to me.
I was like, so I'm like explaining it and like, like DVDs, but it was different. So I was like talking about how it would break. And she goes, oh, I know what you're talking about. The thing that the guy listens to in Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, sort of, yes, but this one was movie and that's music, and it was bigger and like.
Oh my gosh.
Wild that I had to explain that.
That is awesome and also very sad. I can't wait to the day when my daughter says something or like I say something and my daughter's like, what is that?
Yeah, I did not like it.
VHS related and also Titanic related. So I'm obsessed with that movie too. I can watch it whenever. I cannot get bored. I can sit there and watch the whole 4 hours of the movie without a pause. My favorite. But I used to watch it on the VHS tapes as well. And so there was 2 VHSs of it because they couldn't be in one. So it was 2. So I remember I would always watch it and I knew the exact moment of when it would stop. So I would be like getting closer and closer to the minutes. And then like right when it was about to stop, I'd be like, okay, go. And I was like prepared and ready. And that was that. And it was like the best thing ever.
What is the moment in the movie?
I'm like, I might be wrong now because I have DVD now, whatever. But I'm pretty sure it's the part where they start discussing, like, the ship has already been hit, and they're in the captain's pit, and they're discussing how many boats they have and how many people they have on the boat and how many hours. It's like somewhere within that 5-minute scene, that's where it stops. I'm pretty sure he says something like, no, I'm not even. Yeah, it's there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. And you probably would remember if you were watching it and you would be like, oh.
It's now. Yeah. I also still have those VHSs. So I could do it whenever. Because Andre last Mother's Day got me an actual VHS player for my old VHSs that all my nanny gave me, my grandmother, of all Disney classics. Like I have a bunch of now Black Diamond editions. And so I really wanted to watch them, but I had no VHS. And he got me one. So
nice. I have one VHS tape left in my house, and it's James and the Giant Peach.
I love that movie. You watched
but
it
I don't have.
know?
Yeah, on Disney Plus though, because I don't have a VHS player.
Yeah, I mean it's boxy. Don't do it. I love mine, but
yeah, and I don't have like a need to collect them. Like I have no interest in collecting more, but I like also can't bring myself to get rid of my last one.
I got you. Okay, quote of today's episode is, we didn't realize we were making memories. We just knew we were having fun. And that's it. Plain and simple. It says it right there. Those memories are like those moments are some of the funnest, most like memorable things for me in life. So.
And sometimes they just like pop up. Like there are certain memories that I have where like, it's the story that I tell a lot, like the freaking Titanic one. Like I know that story inside and out because my family also tells that story all the time. Yeah. But then there are certain things that'll come up like where you're not even like thinking about it, and then something happens that reminds you of this like memory that's very like distinct in your mind all of a sudden. And I love when that happens.
I do too. I do that often, a lot. And I'll just like either get sad thinking about it because it's in the past, or like I get super happy and I just start laughing and Andre's like, good? I'm good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, I love it. This is I'm glad that we chose to do this because I love doing nostalgic shit.
Me too. Yeah. So for coming up, not in our next episode necessarily, but we will be doing a high school episode. And if you guys want to see old pictures of me and Bailey, like from our childhood, you guys should go follow our Girls Who Gab Instagram because we're going to be posting some. And
I'm excited.
Great. I'm so ready.
Me too. Oh, okay.
But yeah, other than that, make sure to subscribe, follow us, like us, rate us on Apple Podcasts, all of the good stuff. If you want to follow our personal social medias, everything is in the description box down below on whatever platform you're listening, or in the like about section of wherever you're listening. And that's everything.
Yeah, that's it.
So cheers with our tea and water.